The house that listened. When Elias moved into the house at the edge of the marsh, he told himself it was temporary. 6 months, maybe less. Just long enough to recover from the noise of his old life, the deadlines, the expectations, the feeling that every conversation was a performance. The house had been empty for years. It leaned slightly to the east, as if tired, and the paint had softened into the color of old parchment. The locals called it the listening house, though no one could quite explain why. They said it kindly, not fearfully, the way people talk about old dogs or familiar ghosts. Elias didn't ask questions. He liked the quiet. At night, the marsh breathed. Wind slid through reeds like slow water through fingers. The moon reflected in shallow pools, fractured and reassembled with every ripple. Elias would sit by the window with a cup of tea growing cold in his hands, watching the world do nothing in particular. The first thing he noticed was how well the house held silence. Not the empty silence of abandonment, but a full one. The kind that felt occupied, as if the walls were patiently waiting their turn to speak. On his third night, as he lay in bed listening to the low chorus of insects, he heard a sound from downstairs. Not a creak, not settling wood, something softer, like a breath being carefully taken. He didn't move. He didn't feel afraid. Instead, he felt acknowledged. The next morning, everything was ordinary. Sunlight on the kitchen floor, a mug left where he remembered placing it. No signs of disturbance. Elias chalked it up to the mind adjusting, the way dreams sometimes spilled into waking life when routines were broken. Still, that night, he spoke aloud before sleeping. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he said, feeling faintly ridiculous. "Just resting." The house did not answer, but the silence deepened, like a nod. Days turned into weeks. Elias settled into a rhythm. Mornings writing at the old dining table, afternoons walking the marsh paths, evenings reading by lamplight. His thoughts slowed. The constant internal commentary faded into something gentler. He began to notice small things. When he was anxious, the house seemed warmer. When he was tired, the floors felt softer underfoot. Once, after a difficult letter arrived from his former employer, Elias sat heavily on the stairs, head in his hands. The house sighed. It was unmistakable this time. A long, low sound through the beams, like wind moving through a hollow instrument. Elias laughed quietly. "All right," he said. "I hear you too." That night, he dreamed of rooms that remembered him. The dreams continued. Not dramatic ones. No symbols or prophecies. Just moments. A younger Elias, standing in a crowded room, feeling invisible. An older Elias, not yet lived, sitting by a window much like this one, peaceful. The house was always present, not as a character, but as a presence, a steady awareness, like a hand resting lightly on his shoulder. One evening, while walking the marsh, Elias met Mara. She was sketching the water with a charcoal pencil, her boots muddy, her coat too thin for the season. She looked up when she heard him approach. "Eye sharp but kind. You're the one in the old house," she said. "I am," Elias replied. "You're not running away, so I assume that's not a bad thing." She smiled. "It listens to you, doesn't it?" Elias hesitated, then nodded. Mara capped her pencil. "It listens to everyone. Most people just don't stay long enough to notice." They walked together, speaking easily, as if continuing a conversation already in progress. Mara told him she studied places, how people and buildings shaped each other over time. Elias talked about leaving a life that no longer fit. When they parted, Mara said, "The house doesn't keep you. It just gives back what you bring." That night, the house felt brighter. As weeks passed, Mara visited often. Sometimes they spoke for hours. Sometimes they shared silence. Sitting on opposite ends of the porch while dusk settled in layers of blue and gold, there was comfort in her presence. No urgency, no performance. One night, rain drummed gently on the roof. Elias and Mara sat by the fireplace, tea steaming between them. "I think the house likes you," Mara said. "I think it likes honesty," Elias replied. "It's wasted on me most days." She looked at him then, really looked. "You're quieter than you think." Later, when she left, the house creaked softly, as if stretching. Elias felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the fire. He slept deeply. Time moved differently after that. Not faster or slower, just less insistently. Elias wrote without forcing himself. His words felt truer, lighter. He stopped thinking in terms of before and after. One evening, he found a door in the house he hadn't noticed before. It was small, tucked behind the staircase, unlocked. Inside was a narrow room with a single chair and a window facing the marsh. Dustless. Waiting. Elias sat. The house breathed around him. Memories surfaced. Not painful ones. Just unfinished. Conversations never had. Feelings postponed. He let them come and go without judgment. When he stood, he felt clearer, as if something had been gently rearranged. Mara wasn't surprised when he told her. It gives you space, she said. That's all most people ever need. On the first cold night of winter, Elias realized he no longer thought of leaving. The house didn't ask him to stay. It never asked for anything. That was the point. Mara came by that evening with bread still warm from the oven. They ate slowly, talking about nothing important. When she rested her head against his shoulder, it felt inevitable, not dramatic. The house held the moment carefully. Later, alone in bed, Elias whispered, "Thank you." The silence answered, not with sound, but with ease. Years later, people would say the house felt different, lighter, as if it had learned something new. Elias would smile at that.